See that? Whack, whack, whack.
Wow.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do it all together, right? We're gonna do, let's say, ta, ta. No? No? You hear it? Una vez más. 1, 2, 3. You see? Una vez más. 1, 2, 3. It's un twin, 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 right? So that it is something pretty neat. Use of mortar, okay? Quite important. Just imagine, amigos, how many hectares of trees, I mean, were just used to produce enough mortar just to work on this building. But have in mind that it's not one building. We have like layers of constructions, right? Let's say that the Mayan architecture, I guess an analogy, a Mayan pyramid could be, how do we say, an onion. What happened when you cut down the onion? What do we see? Layers, right? So more or less, that's what we have in the Mayan architecture. When you go through, it is possible to see the layers of construction. I was commenting that Chichen Itza, it is not only one building. I was commenting that in Chichen Itza, we have a sequence of construction that goes back to 300 BC to 1200 AD, which means that we don't have architecture only here, but right next to us. Come to see it. I don't know, but you can take a look here and you may understand that. Please see it. Look at the lizard. See the lizard? And what we see here, this is the work of archaeologists, right? Just confirming that we have in Chichen Itza this sequence of construction, not there, but under the ground as well. So as you can see right here, I guess you understand what I was commenting, that all of this at one time was level, just to have, right? I mean, the right elevation, and on this new, can I say, new architecture of Chichen Itza, put the buildings we see here. Officially, most of the experts like to mention that the buildings we see all the way around us, Mayan architecture from the 10th century AD. So all of this, it is more or less 1,000 years old. But let me tell you something, amigos. Chichen Itza is not only here. Chichen Itza, we're talking about more or less 10 square miles of buildings. In Chichen Itza, we're talking about more or less 3,000 buildings on this complex, which means that we need a couple of days to see what we have exposed for tourists, right? And let me tell you, can you check back there? We have a pretty interesting building. We say pretty interesting because, can you take a look at the lower part of the construction? Look how many pillars. You see the pillars? And let me tell you, if we go to the right, then we don't see pillars. Pillars are on this side. But to the right, you see the columns. You see the columns? And that is the building well known as the 1,000 columns. We goes beyond the trees. And the building we have in front of us, it is believed that that one couldn't be as a kind of a training center for the warriors of Chichen Itza. I don't know, just imagine a place like this back in those days having a group of people defending, I guess, the interests of the Mayan rulers. So it's no way to say the Mayan Navy or the Mayan Army, but we say the warriors, right? So we believe that all of this complex, it was protected on that side. One more detail. Right here on this plaza, notice one thing. None of the buildings surrounding us, showing us, how do you say, dwelling type function. We don't see any house here. We only see temples and temples and temples. That behind the columns, it is the only region where we see a type of buildings people says palaces or the residence of the rulers. Yeah, couldn't be. Yeah, could be like the royal family or the priesthood. But let me tell you, back in the 40s, when the archaeologists were pretty busy here in Chichen Itza, guess what? We have information about another excavation another tunnel on that building. 20 years ago, it was possible to see the excavation. 20 years ago, it was allowed to climb everything. Yeah, when it was allowed to climb the building there, up there, you see, going to the left. I mean, there was an opening on the building, a hole in the ground, right? And going through that hole, see, on the inside building, okay, archaeologists, let me show you what they found. This is what they found. This is one of my favorite pictures, right? About the mural, still inside, still inside the building. And take a look at the colors, right? I don't know, it's incredible to say that this kind of art is still inside the building. Look at the tails. I'm sorry, the top part of the columns, right?
Is there some kind
of the building, just in front of us, right? This is the so-called ball court of Chichen Itza.
Yeah.
And I think pretty clear to understand that back in those days, Mayan society was able to practice very, very important rituals, among them. I'm sorry, somebody may hear that this was a game, but I'm sorry, I am not agree with that. Back in those days, there was no sense of competition, right? This was, a ritual which recreates, I don't know guys, have you heard about the Popol Vuh? Never heard about the Popol Vuh? The Popol Vuh, it is the most important epic narration of the Maya that says about the creation of the universe. And the Popol Vuh says that the first ones practicing this ritual, those were the gods. The gods from the underworld, the gods from the upper world. So the gods got it together and they played the ball, and that's create the universe of the Maya. So it's a pretty interesting history, Popol Vuh. And the ritual back in those days, can you take a look? I was commenting the stone rings, right? Please, amigos, take a look. Can you see those? One on the left, one on the right. That is the question. Pretty important to say they were short people, right? They were short people. And let me put this in context, right? Pretty important. Let me put this in context. Nobody, no one witnessed, nobody from the colonial, Spaniards' conquest witnessed this place having a match, okay? I was commenting that Chichen Itza was abandoned back in the 1200s AD, and the Spaniards got here until 1500s, right? So which means that when the Spaniards got here, one more time, all of this was completely abandoned. So it's no way to say, I am the conqueror and I witnessed that, sorry, all of this is speculation. And one of the theories says that back in those days, two teams, 7 players per side, okay, were part of this. Somebody may wonder, how can you tell us that? Sorry guys, if we get close enough, you see people working against the wall, they are just protecting. The bas relief, the carvings, telling us the history of the game, and we see 7 players per side. We know there were short people, right? But we must consider that to play the game, you must have a kind of, can I say wooden bat? A wooden racket? Let me tell you, during the excavations in the cenote, archaeologists report some sort of objects looking pretty much as helmets made of rubber, protection knee pads, protection for the elbows, and all of those devices, we can see those on the carvings on the building. So important to say that back in those days, the hands, the legs, the head, the hip, it was part of the body used to put the ball through the stone ring. But anyhow, if I say from here to there, it's too high. We're talking about 24 feet high. So I believe that 1 or 2 players back then we're the ones running on the terraces. Can you see? Attached to the walls, we have terraces. So you are a bit closer to the ring. And just imagine 1 or 2 players running up and down on those terraces, waiting for a pass that somebody in the lower ground may send to them, and in that way you can hit the ball through the ring. We're talking about a device that, according to investigations, a device weighing at least 2 pounds. You may hear my colleague saying the rubber ball weighing 5 pounds. Can you imagine somebody hitting you with a little object 5 pounds? That may kill you. Okay, so I think that kind of rubber ball weighing no more than a couple of pounds. So please, amigos, let's get closer to the carvings. That will be something pretty interesting to see. And I was commenting the decapitation of one of the participants, and we have to see that. So please, amigos, come here. Can you see people? Look at the size of the people. We understand that this could be the actual size of people in this place back then. All right, and you can see, for instance, right here, you can see the 2 legs, right? The 2 legs, the body, and you can see the profile. Seems to have a helmet, right? You see it? And then we have another one. Look at this one. Again, the 2 legs, right? Look at the body, and then we see the profile. Please, amigos, notice one thing. All of the players with some very nice outfit. All of them wearing even sandals. And you can see one detail. Can you recognize the knee pads? Look at this one here. Pretty clear. We have the knee pads, right? And then let me show you, please, amigos. Oh, we see one, this one in particular, this one here, kneeling. Can you see him? Look at the knee touching the ground. This one, where I am standing, next to me, one of the participants kneeling, okay? But look one detail. We see the body, we see the leg, we see the arms, we see the legs, but we see no head. Can you check that? No head, all right?
Where is he?
Right here. Can you get the knee touching the ground? Look at that. Look at the way they put the knee touching the ground, right? And then right here on this one, next to the one kneeling, please, amigos, can you see at the center, we recognize the skull. I guess we understand what means the skull, right? Yeah. So now, please, amigos, take a look. Take a look if the one is here. We see one of the players right here. I think the leader of the team behind him, and this guy, I'm showing to you this one. Can you see him? Look, shows one arm extended. The left arm, it is extended, right? And if you see, the left arm is holding a head.
He's literally like this.
Like this, you see that? Okay. No?
Look at the hand there. Look at the face there.
There you go.
It looks like
See,
blood coming out of his.
look at my man. One of the serpents, look at the line here. One of the serpents turned as a tree with flowers and fruits. The metaphor, death brings
Rebirth.
life, rebirth. I guess so many people don't get it, but we see it here. And look, this guy, well, on this one, it's not pretty clear, but on one hand, on the left arm, you can see it in front of him, holding the head, but on the right hand, see, that we see coming, over here, we have this kind of pointed object. Over here, you see it? Which looks as a dagger. So we think that we see him pretty clear.
But look
right?
at that guy's got like...
The execution, sacrifice was performed. Please, amigos, can you look down here? Can you see the decoration on the building right here, the platform? And I guess it's the skulls everywhere, right? So this is the Tzompantli, see, Nahuatl, and this couldn't be the space where the execution, right? I guess that's why we have so many of the skulls right here. but I would like to show you a tiny detail. Of course, if you stand right here, can you take a look to the corner? Please, amigos, look the way back then they were able to manage the perspective. You must be at the corner